your question is, are my family happy in the cult, or were they? Obviously, I'm talking about the cult that I escaped 7 years ago. If you're new here, hey. Um, my family is still stuck in there. I've been excommunicated, and obviously, my family do not speak to me. Are not allowed to speak to me at all. Now, on a few occasions over the last 7 years, my sisters had come to me and said, I want out, help me get out of here. Obviously, I took it seriously, but then also was understood the lengths, or the trauma that is involved in leaving. Whilst it is a very traumatic place to be a part of, or group to be a part of, cult to be a part of, it's a very traumatic thing to leave. So, and it's not easy. You've got to emotionally, you've got to realize that your family will never, ever, ever speak to you again. Particularly if you speak up like I'm doing here and raise awareness about how toxic the cult is. So, no, my family was never happy, and I had evident signs of that. There was one instance where my mum tried to throw herself from a moving car because her dad and her were arguing. That was like just one childhood memory. There are many I could recall. And my parents had an arranged marriage, so that's where you got to understand. They don't understand what happiness is. They don't understand what peace is. They say they do, and they'll spout scriptures and verses to validate why they do. None of that is authentic, because I now too have experienced what peace is, and real life and reality. And on the other side of all that, I can say and look back in retrospect and go, no, none of that is real. None of that, all this um, false validation that they build up through the Bible. Whilst I understand there are valid and genuine and real Christians out there, yes, I have very different beliefs now, but the way that the brethren believe and say they believe, and get their happiness and peace, it's false. Absolutely false. Because there is not that would be representative in your actions. You wouldn't be projecting this hate towards homosexuals, for example. You wouldn't be subjecting women the way you do, making them never, the rules you have around how they're not allowed to have a career. Nobody can go to universities. The women are not allowed to cut their hair. The women have to wear, you know, never allowed to wear pants because that's assuming the role of the man. Like all this really oppressive shit. Of course, the women are unhappy, and more so, they don't have say over their marriage. So my mum, allegedly, I've been told, was engaged, and then now she was forced to break that off and marry my dad because his family, had access to the leader, and that was power. Like, no, they are not happy, because I know what happiness is now. And yes, I don't have happiness all the time. If you're inside there watching this, you don't have, and that's a very unrealistic expectation to think you're going to have happiness all your life. Happiness comes, happiness goes. Sadness comes, sadness goes. But what you can have permanently out here is peace and safety. That's what you can have out here. Something you never had out in there. And freedom of choice, which is insane. Like, I've just been to the gym at 5 a.m. this morning, and it's a Sunday. I love every minute of that. Whereas I chose to go there, right? Crazy, I know. But back in the church, I would have mandatory been at a church meeting that time in the morning. So my life is polar different now, but incredible.